Nigga, all your dad homies. I don't give a fuck who I'm talking about. All them.
Talking about?
You and your dad homies.
6ix9ine's girl is gone, taken out cold, and the streets can't stop buzzing about it. New footage just surfaced, showing him right before everything went down, and people are saying his mouth may have sparked the hit that ended in blood. August 17th, 2025 turned into a nightmare that left the hip-hop scene frozen. Just as the city was waking up, Ariela Langoa, a 29-year-old Dominican beauty with serious buzz, was discovered slumped inside her car on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon. Her murder had everybody questioning what really happened, but the loudest whispers were about her ties to one of rap's most controversial names, Tekashi 6ix9ine, and whether his chaos dragged her straight into danger. Ariela wasn't just some random Instagram face. She was a rising force. With over 500,000 followers on IG and another 115,000 on TikTok, she had New York hooked with her wild energy, dancing, and modeling that had people glued to her every post. But here's where it gets real. Outside the filters and the fame, Ariela was deep in New York's nightlife game. She moved in the same dangerous spaces as rappers, hustlers, and internet stars, where clout can turn deadly in a second. Ariela was stacking cash and brushing shoulders with drama while working at hotspots like Icon New York and Starlets. These weren't just clubs, they were playgrounds where celebs, influencers, and street heavyweights all collided. A powder keg of fame, ego, and money that could explode any night. The night before her murder, August 16th, 2025, Ariela was lit on IG posting stories from Icon, the same club where she hustled her bag. Clips showed her laughing, dancing, glowing like life couldn't touch her. But nobody knew those would be the last joyful moments she'd ever share, just hours before everything turned dark.
Bro,
Not surprised.
told on his girl, bro.
Not surprised.
6ix9ine just about to tell on anybody, huh?
Man, come on.
That's what makes this case so chilling. She looked carefree, but behind the glitz was a storm brewing, one tied to Tekashi 6ix9ine himself. Now fans, investigators, and even haters are scrambling to connect the dots, wondering how much his messy track record with the feds plays into the deadly twist that left Ariela gone. A no-jumper clip shows it clear. 6ix9ine has no hesitation when it comes to talking to 12.
What's your definition of a snitch? Let's start there.
A snitch is somebody, I feel like a snitch will do anything to get out of a situation. You know what I'm trying to say? Like a snitch will get faced with something and will just give up their mother, their brother, everybody, their whole camp just to be free.
Even about people he's supposed to be tight with, the host's shocked reaction says it all. The culture sees this as betrayal, plain and simple. And 6ix9ine himself admitted it. His pattern of snitching isn't some one-off. This is how he moves with law enforcement every time. Street voices have been blasting him for years, pointing out how quick he is to feed info to the cops. That detail becomes heavy when people start asking why Ariela ended up catching those bullets. Now, her link to Tekashi is the centerpiece of all the whispers. Were they a couple or just close friends? Nobody can agree. Some insiders swear Ariela was 6ix9ine's girl, while others claim he called her sis, trying to paint it as a platonic but deep connection. That confusion isn't random. It shows how tricky things get in 6ix9ine's world, where claiming someone publicly can be just as dangerous as denying it. And in Ariela's case, that blurry line might have cost her everything. One thing is clear. The bond between Ariela and 6ix9ine went way past casual friendship. She wasn't just in the background, she starred in his music video for WAPA alongside Angel Dior, Lanier, and Bolin 47. That wasn't some blink and you miss it cameo. Her presence lit up the screen, showing off her charisma and tying her directly into 6ix9ine's music world in a way fans couldn't ignore. But that wasn't all. In 2023, they popped out together at the Toga Room in New York, a major nightlife spot where appearances mean status. That moment showed they were comfortable enough to be seen side by side, but still careful about not letting too much slip into the public eye. With 6ix9ine, even the smallest outing turns into speculation, and Ariela standing next to him spoke volumes. Now here's where it gets even heavier, the timing. By 2025, Tekashi wasn't the same loud, reckless figure fans were used to. His life was under a whole new set of chains. After a 45-day hit in federal custody in late 2024, he walked out on strict probation, locked under house arrest with an ankle monitor, barred from leaving the country, and forced to play by the system's rules. In July 2025, things got even darker. 6ix9ine pleaded guilty to drug charges after a March raid on his Florida mansion uncovered MDMA, cocaine, and other stashes. He was set to face sentencing that September.
What I fold on though?
When you took the stand, or when you testified?
What I fold on?
When you snitched.
All right, so let me ask you something. If you was in that position, what you would have done?
For me, you gotta understand.
Nah, I don't answer the question.
I would never tell.
All right, so this is what I'm saying. If you was in that position, you would have did that, Tom?
Meaning his every move was under a microscope. Hitting New York's nightlife at that point wasn't just unlikely, it could have blown up his whole legal standing in seconds. Yet Ariela's death is now tangled up with his wild past and all the enemies he's made since flipping from street-linked rapper to full-on federal informant in unreleased footage. 6ix9ine explains his mindset the moment he chose to cooperate, and the defensive way he argues proves how unapologetic he really is. He doesn't just admit it, he challenges others, daring them to say what they would have done in his shoes. That attitude matters, because when you look at Ariela's murder, the question becomes, did being close to him paint a target on her back? The transformation of Daniel Hernandez into Tekashi 6ix9ine, then into a cooperating witness, is a saga the world already knows. But when you put Ariela in the middle of that chaos, it hits different. And let's not forget, his snitching past wasn't just old news. He was still catching heat in 2025. Months before Ariela's death, a fake casket was literally delivered to his Florida home, spray painted with the name of rival King Von. That chilling message showed enemies hadn't forgotten, and some were willing to send brutal warnings straight to his doorstep. The talk around Ariela's death goes way past just her link to 6ix9ine. It's about a tangled web of rivalries, grudges, and motives that stretch far beyond one relationship. Interviews and clips of 6ix9ine show a clear pattern. Snitching wasn't some desperate move under pressure. It's his go-to strategy anytime the law comes knocking. That's why enemies don't just see him as weak, they see anyone around him as fair game. For investigators, this wasn't a random hit in the hood. As cops tried to piece together Ariela Langoa's final hours, a darker, more layered story started unfolding. This wasn't mistaken identity. It was a puzzle built on street politics, payback, and the shadow of Tekashi's choices. Now let's break it down. Hood gossip is spilling everywhere.
Let me ask you something, and like I said, my respect to the West Coast. You never lacking, right?
Never.
So what happened to the niggas that lack? Let's bring up Nipsey Hussle. You think he said, yo, will never come up to me because I'm... Yo, bro, it happened to the best of them.
Yes,
Hold on.
You're absolutely right.
Hold on. So what you gonna say, Nipsey? Huh?
Different theories are flying, each one messier than the last, each one giving a different angle on why Ariela's life ended the way it did. And with 6ix9ine at the center, every rumor gets louder. To really understand it, we have to hear his own twisted view of street life. In one clip, 6ix9ine lays out his philosophy on violence, bragging that his way of surviving is smarter than the keep it real code that left so many rappers in graves. 6ix9ine's cold-blooded logic is simple. He claims working with the feds makes him smarter than the so-called real street figures who ended up 6 feet deep. But when it comes to Ariela's death, the hottest theory blowing up social media, hip-hop blogs, and even global news outlets says she wasn't the target at all. The bullets were meant for her alleged boyfriend, Nada Cartier. Cartier is painted as a suspected gang leader tied to robbery ops known as Joe Lopi. Reports say Ariela was driving a Mercedes G-Wagon with Cartier riding shotgun when the ambush went down. She ended up gone, but Cartier walked away untouched. Even wilder, whispers claim Ariela set up Colombians for Cartier to rob, and her murder was revenge for that betrayal. If true, this flips the story upside down. Ariela wouldn't just be a victim caught in the wrong place. She'd be seen as an active player in a street game that turned deadly. Police did confirm someone was detained after the shooting, and multiple sources ID'd that person as Cartier himself. His history, prior arrests, and shady entry into the U.S. only fuels the theory that he was the intended mark of a planned hit. This angle leans hard on 6ix9ine's infamous past as a 9 Trey Gangsta Bloods member who flipped in 2019, testifying in court and wearing the snitch label ever since.
It's that. But what's the point, though?
I'm right there. So King Von is a solid, and he got killed, right? Then poked out and put 5 in him, right? And he dead, right? So King Von died lacking.
You hurt my feelings.
No. Hear what I'm saying.
May he rest in peace,
King
man.
Von died lacking. Nipsey died lacking. Pop Smoke died lacking.
Right.
Can't lack?
No, you can't.
All right.
Kill or be killed in these streets.
In his own words, he even brags that staying alive by any means is smarter than dying real, sparking outrage with his brutal claim that street credibility means nothing if it gets you killed. That mindset is why some speculate Ariela's murder was a shot meant for him. Rumors say her death was tied to old gang vendettas, with Ariela caught in the middle. Fueling this theory even more was 6ix9ine's emotional Instagram tribute, calling her his sister. The intensity of his post had fans whispering that guilt was eating him alive, knowing being close to him could have made her a target. But here's where the story twists. In 2025, Tekashi was stuck under house arrest with an ankle monitor, banned from moving around freely. That means him being in New York with Ariela would have been a straight probation violation. So was he really there? Or was the hit meant as a symbolic message, wiping out someone close to him to send fear straight to his doorstep? And then there's the third theory shaking up social media, claims Ariela herself was working as an informant. Some say she provided info on criminal moves around her, echoing 6ix9ine's own cooperating witness pass. The idea that Ariela might have been cooperating with the feds picks up steam when you look at 6ix9ine's own outlook on snitching. In the clips we've seen, he flat out says working with law enforcement isn't weakness, it's survival. And if that's how he moves, who's to say his influence didn't rub off on the people closest to him? That's why some believe Ariela may have stepped into the same dangerous lane. Even without solid proof, the streets feed on that type of narrative. History shows how so-called betrayal gets handled with ruthless street justice, and Ariela's death fits the kind of punishment that comes when someone is seen as too close to the wrong side. Adding to the suspicion, New York has been drowning in gang-related chaos. Around the same time Ariela was killed, a Brooklyn nightclub erupted in gunfire. 4 shooters, 42 shell casings, and confirmed gang ties.
I respect gangsters, bro. But you gonna see me, you gonna respect me.
Hold on, let me break something down to you, right?
I don't even mean to change the mood, but 6ix9ine, we all know about the perception.
The NYPD commissioner admitted retaliation was a real fear, with Mayor Adams sending crisis teams to calm the storm. Now, no direct link between Ariela's death and that Brooklyn massacre has been proven, but the timing had people buzzing. To many, it looked like overlapping waves of violence crashing together, with Ariela's personal ties putting her right in the crossfire. What makes Ariela's case so hard to pin down is the silence from officials. Police haven't revealed how many shots were fired, the full sequence of events, or even key forensic findings. That blackout created the perfect storm: conspiracies, wild theories, and unverified claims flooding social media, hip-hop blogs, and street corners everywhere. So what really went down? The deeper you dig, the murkier it gets. The official story doesn't line up with the speculation running the internet. Law enforcement looks like they're scrambling to control a high-profile case tied to one of rap's most controversial figures, while trying to dodge the heat of massive public obsession. Adding fuel to the fire, 6ix9ine himself has broken down how street wars really play out. In revealing footage, he explains why keeping it real gets rappers killed, while bending the rules keeps him alive. It's his brutal blueprint for survival, even if it means burning bridges.
Bro,
I'm gonna be honest.
Alpo. We gonna get on Alpo. Yo, shout out my girl, baby. I love you. Listen, I gotta talk about it. I gotta bring it up. I'm sorry if I put, but I'm about to fire Harlem up. My girl's baby father, Charlie C, is a Mac Ball of blood.
Okay, what that mean?
He's a Mac Ball of blood that Jack kill all rats. The Mac Ball Jack kill all rats.
And then comes the bombshell, the mention of Alpo Martinez, the infamous Harlem figure, showing up at 6ix9ine's baby shower before his own death. That detail exposes how messy these connections are. The investigation into Ariela's killing is now in the hands of both the NYPD and Westchester County Police, who have officially labeled it a suspicious homicide. Westchester Police Chief James Luciano confirmed they believe the shooting was tied to criminal activity, but stopped short of dropping specifics. That alone pushed the case away from random violence and straight into the zone of targeted attacks. But here's what's wild. No arrests, no suspects, no clear motive. As of August 18th, 2025, with the entire hip-hop world watching, investigators haven't publicly named a single person. For a case this high-profile, the silence is deafening. Are they being extra cautious, or are they running into walls the public doesn't know about? The circumstances only make the mystery heavier. Around 8 a.m., Ariela was found slumped inside her vehicle on the Cross County Parkway in Mount Vernon. Sources claim she'd been shot in the head, but details like how many rounds, what kind of weapon, and the exact timeline of events remain hidden. What makes Ariela's murder even more puzzling is where it happened. The Cross County Parkway isn't some hidden back road. It's a major artery connecting the Bronx to Westchester, packed with traffic and lined with cameras. For a shooting to go down there without immediate witnesses or clean surveillance screams either a lightning-fast ambush or planning so precise that the shooters knew exactly when and where the blind spots were. Then comes the question of 6ix9ine's movements. Despite wild speculation that he was with Ariela, the facts don't add up. In 2025, he was stuck on house arrest, chained to electronic monitoring. If he had slipped into New York, the feds would have clocked it instantly. That gap between speculation and legal reality blows a hole in the "they were after him" theory. Unless the attack was symbolic, meant to send a brutal message by hitting someone close. Or maybe it was straight mistaken identity, the shooters thinking Tekashi himself was inside the car. Either way, it shows how dangerous being near him really was. And let's not forget, threats against Tekashi didn't just disappear after his courtroom flip. In February 2025, a fake casket with King Von spray painted on it was dropped at his Florida mansion. The deeper you look into 6ix9ine's twisted mindset on street credibility, the clearer it is why people might aim at those closest to him. His final words on the Alpo Martinez situation show just how confrontational he is.
Or Harlem don't hide and be like, I wasn't at that baby shower. If I would have seen, I was at that baby shower drinking rosé.
I ain't gonna even lie.
Oh,
Also,
listen.
let me get spicy real quick. See, my whole thing is like this, man. On some real, I ain't trying to be funny or nothing, Jim Jones, but you keep shouting Mel. You keep shouting Mel and shouting them out.
Calling out hypocrisy, exposing contradictions, and daring the hip-hop world to check him. That boldness may keep him trending, but it also stacks up enemies who would rather see him buried. Here's the danger. When someone like Tekashi can't be touched directly, his circle becomes the target. Ariela's link to him could have put her in the line of fire, even if he was nowhere near the scene. This kind of proxy violence, hitting associates instead of the main target, has become the new play in street wars, especially when the main figure is under tight protection or government watch. Even hip-hop commentators see it. On No Jumper, the host broke down how 6ix9ine's cooperation with the feds keeps dragging him back under the spotlight as the guy who tells.
You know what I mean? Because now it's just putting you back in the spotlight as telling again. You know what I mean? Like it just won't stop. What's next?
Now, I don't with 6ix9ine whatsoever, but
Why not?
domestic violence, you know why. Domestic violence is domestic violence.
In the hood, that reputation doesn't fade. It sticks. And when the streets believe snitching defines you, anyone riding close to you becomes just as vulnerable. For those who see snitching as unforgivable, 6ix9ine's confrontational style only makes it worse. He doesn't shy away. He fires back at critics, questioning their street credibility while exposing his own vulnerability. That contradiction is exactly why he's such a polarizing and dangerous figure to be around. And then came his tributes to Ariela, dropping at the same time he was under crushing legal heat. With sentencing for his July 2025 drug plea right around the corner, any public statement risked drawing even more federal attention. So why post them?
Yo, wait, let me ask y'all a question. Let me ask the OGs a question. Was Mel Murder running around with Treyway? Well, I mean, was Mel Murder running around with Jim Jones in 2009? Was Mel Murder running around Jim Jones when he was doing bowling?
Yeah.
He was, right?
Some say it was pure emotion breaking through. Others believe it was a calculated move to distance himself from suspicion in her death. Either way, it shows how few people he trusted and how deeply her loss shook him. The streets and community felt it too. Icon New York and Starlets, the clubs where Ariela worked, both honored her online, calling her a bright star full of joy and humility. And across the Dominican community, fans flooded her Instagram with condolences, mourning a woman whose life was cut down too soon. But here's the chilling truth. On August 17th, 2025, Ariela Langoa was found shot inside her car on the Cross County Parkway. Police have labeled it a targeted hit tied to criminal activity. Yet with no arrests, no motive, and no answers, the case stays wide open and the questions keep piling up. What do you think the outcome will be? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe if you want more deep dives like this.